Are you guys ready to get bucked up? If you're looking for something to give you the energy, focus, and endurance you need to conquer your next game or workout, then Bucked Up is for you. Bucked Up just released a new line of endurance products perfect for NBHL players. And let me just mention a few. Go all out with Bucked Up's new full bore product, which focuses on blood flow and bringing more oxygen to the lungs and muscles. It also has other innovative clinical ingredients which will give you the stamina and power to push through the pain in practice, during workouts, and in games. Bucked Up's long range contains a proper balance of carbohydrates and sodium to refuel your body during your exercise. And Bucked Up IV will restore the fluids and electrolytes that you sweat out during games. Also, be sure to check out Bucked Up's #1 best-selling pre-workout products to help take your training sessions to the next level. Head to buckedup.com and use promo code NBHL20 to get 20% off your next order. Once again, that's promo code NBHL20.
Welcome to Commish Chat, the official podcast of the National Ball Hockey League. I'm Anthony Sanrocco, NBHL Commissioner, joined by co-founders TJ Janus and Gianni Sanrocco. Listen in as we take you behind the scenes about all the happenings in the NBHL through the 2023 season, keep you up to date with biggest news around the league, scores, updates, all the above. So welcome, first episode of Commish Chat.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. I know this podcast has been a long time coming. We've been wanting to do this for probably the last 3 years, but we're finally taking the step to do it. So super excited to share this with you. What's up, G?
What's up, T? What's up, Ant? Happy to be here, finally recording this.
So I guess we can do quick little intros, talk about our role in the league and the management role and as players in the league. I'm the commissioner. Been playing the league for 3 years. Year 1, I played for the Seattle Cold Snacks in Pacific Northwest. Year 2, played for the Malibu Monsters in California Tier 2. And this year, I will be on the EBHL Tortugas in Jersey Tier 1.
You've literally played with a different team all 3 years. Probably one of the only players in the league to do so, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm TJ. I've played for the Marlton Dogs in the New Jersey Tier 1 division my first season. And now these 2 recent seasons, I'll be on the Caribou, Lakeland Caribou with Mike Malloy and the boys. So looking to have a strong season. Behind the scenes at the NBHL, I do a lot of the website management, back-end marketing, and honestly, we all play a big role in about everything that gets done here. So jack of all trades, if you will.
And I'm Gianni Sanrocco, another co-founder of the league. Around the NBHL, I am the head of the video department. All those highlights you're seeing on Instagram and YouTube and on thenbhl.com usually are flowing through me and my video team. Do a lot of the sponsorship things as well. So if any businesses are looking to help out a team in the league, you come to me. As a player in the league, I'm the one team guy on the squad. 3 years of the EBHL Tortugas. That's my team. We're bringing Anthony into the squad this year, but happy to be here and happy to get running for a 3rd season on the Dukes.
All right, well, introductions out of the way. We're finally here, finally doing a podcast. This is cool. Hopefully it goes well. So we're calling this podcast Commish Chat. And the reason we're calling it that is because we have our Slack group that if you're listening to this, there's a pretty decent chance that we have bugged you to go into our Slack at some point. And our channel between the 3 of us where we talk about all of our commissioner duties, I guess, is called Commish Chat. So we're just like, all right, simple. That's the name of the podcast because that's what we're doing. We're the 3 of us just talking it out.
I mean, that took months to figure out when it was sitting right in front of us for a long time. I remember, we floated so many different ideas, and the one day you were like, I had an epiphany, and you're like, we're going to name it Commish Chat. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, sometimes the simplest answer is the best one.
Yeah, I think once we all heard that, we're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So with this, like what we're going to do is this first episode is going to be a little different format. It's just going to be the 3 of us. We're going to take you through basically the history of the NBHL, how we got to where we are now through our leagues prior and what led up to the 165 teams we have in the league for this season. But on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, we're going to do more like, weekly updates. We're going to have interviews with a bunch of players, and we're going to have segments that we have on social media that we hope that people participate in that we will rattle off answers for. The one that we've been posting online already was our Ask of the Week, sponsored by Hockey Militia. And basically we're going to pose a question. People can respond to it, and we're going to discuss the responses on here. Some of them will be serious. Some of them will be funny. Like they're going to kind of be all over the place. And even if you have suggestions for what we should ask, like let us know. We're, open to all ideas. The other segment we'll have is we'll post a story once a week. It'll be a Q&A, and it'll say, if you have any questions for the NBHL, ask here. With opening this first episode, we did it in the comments of our Instagram post, but we won't have that every time. So keep a lookout for a story at some point in the week, ask a question, and we'll answer like 3 to 5 on a given episode.
Definitely let us know who you guys think we should get on the pod as guests, because I mean, we have a short list right now. Excited to have some players on, ex-players, coaches, directors, all that. Should be good.
Yeah, so guess we should get right into it. How we got to this day.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest question I think we got a lot was like, how did this come to be? And I guess we really don't have a ton out about how it came to be, so definitely necessary.
So I guess we'll start off in 2015 with me, you, TJ, and your brother Pat. We were hanging out at the Kings Grant rink, which is in our hometown of Marlton, New Jersey. It's suburb of Philadelphia, probably like 35 minutes to the city. It's where the Milet Cup's hosted. And in our neighborhood called Kings Grant, there's a rink there, and it's not in the best shape, but it exists, and no one was using it. So we were just summer afternoon hanging out, shooting around at the rink, and we're just like, why is there not a league here? Like, why is there nothing here? Why don't we do something? So we went back to Pat and TJ's house, and we were chilling in their garage, which was like our hangout spot. And for whatever reason, we all had ukuleles. I don't know why.
I think I had bought one. And I knew that you had played a little bit, and I was like, yo, let's rip some uke on that.
Without having any skill on how to do it. Like, when's the last time you picked the ukulele up?
I literally don't have it anymore. I don't know.
I actually gave mine to Ty, who's our producer for this podcast, so he has my ukulele. But yeah, so we were just sitting in the garage. We were just brainstorming, like, how could we do a league? And like, that rink is small. Like, you could not come close to fitting 5-on-5 on that rink. We had to do 4-on-4. So we were like, let's just get our friends, do a 4-on-4 league, and, see if people want to do it and see if we can make it happen. The first people we emailed was the Kings Grant board. And we said, hey, we're looking to do a hockey league. We're all Kings Grant residents. We grew up here. We'd love to know what it costs to rent and like how we can go about getting it started. I remember they emailed us back pretty quickly, and they said that we had to get like a $1 to $2 million insurance policy. They said that, and we were like, okay, well, good try, I guess. Like,
that seems ridiculous.
Guess we're not going to make this happen. They sent us that, and we didn't respond, and we were like, what do we do? And then I called Scott Tarzi, who people listening to this podcast might be familiar with. He's been involved with national teams. He currently runs the high school ball hockey league, and he's very heavily involved in the sport. I said, how crazy is a $1 million insurance policy? Like, is that even something remotely attainable for us? And he's like, no, it's actually not nearly as bad as you would think. And pointing us to a website, and the insurance policy was not bad at all, and it was very affordable somehow. And we were like, all right, well then let's do it. So we got the insurance policy. We filed as an LLC with the state of New Jersey, got all our tax stuff lined up, texted all of our friends, and within was it 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, I remember I was a senior in high school. This was right before the summer hit. This league was going to be played during the summer, and I'm a senior in high school. I remember posting on my Instagram, new league coming out, and a bunch of people hitting me up to join. And yeah, it was just kind of cool being a senior, having my own league. And yeah, and then I remember we had to open up a bank account and do all those business related things, and we were like, all right, this is it, let's do it.
Yeah, so then we came up with EBHL Ball Hockey League, because the sport had started to shift to being called ball hockey for us at that point. In South Jersey, it was always street hockey, and then it started to become ball hockey. So we're like, all right, we don't want to rip off of Marlton, we'll call it EBHL, which is another name for our town basically. And EBHL Ball Hockey League, EBHL, was born. And within a couple of weeks, we had 10 teams opening season. I should know this.
Sounds about right. If anyone would know, you would know.
It was 8 to 10 teams. I forget what the final number was, but the EBHL, so it was 4-on-4. We started it maybe a month after that, because we had to wait for jerseys. And the first year, teams got to name their teams, but all the jerseys had our EBHL logo on it. And I'd say 90% of the league was between the ages of 18 and 25. It was just all our buddies, and we would be super hungover in the heat. And we learned a lot. We scheduled a lot of games in the afternoon, and we learned that was a terrible idea, because there was no shade at that rink. There was no covering of the benches. So you were dying on the bench. And Gianni, I think you probably had it worse that first year. Each team had a 10-game season. How many games did you end up playing?
Oh my God, I must have played at least 50 games that season. They were brutal. No one brought their goalie. And me and Pat would play goalie too. We would each play 4 or 5 games a day.
I remember showing up. Yeah. Saturday morning or Sunday morning, whatever it was, just super hungover. It's like 95 degrees and half your team didn't show up. So you're just constantly running and like full sprint running because the rink was so small that you couldn't let up at all. And if you did, you were getting scored on.
It felt like no one like actually wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But everyone came. And then when the game started, everyone went pretty hard. But like,
It's actually really true.
the benches, everybody was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Like, why am I doing this? And like, we were like, yeah, like, we don't know either. Like, we decided to do this and like, we're kind of regretting it sometimes. Like, this is a lot of work. And like, it took up our whole summers. Like, it was Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes we had weekday games. Like, we didn't really have a set schedule the way that we do in the NBHL, generally do in the NBHL now. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
We got it done. And like one of the things we did differently was because, you know, we all played in adult leagues in South Jersey, Philadelphia. Like a lot of them just didn't have like websites. They didn't have stats. They didn't have standings. So you didn't really know where you stood. So we went on Wix.
Yeah.
And I believe Pat made the website
Sounds
to
right.
start at least. And we started editing it afterwards. But so we made this website that had all the teams. It had your rosters. We'd upload the stats after every single game. We had standings.
What made us stand out from like other leagues was just like those few things, it felt like. And that kind of started the whole train of where we're at today. It was just, how could we be better and, you know, make this more legitimate and professional? And I mean, it was not that professional back then, but, you know, that was the start of something, I think.
Yeah, I think we were given a little more than, you know, people had probably expected out of us having the website and all that stuff. Like, I think we did a decent job with that. And yeah, I mean, even now, like if you're interested, like if you Google EBHL Ball Hockey League, like you can still find that website and go to like history in 2015. Like you can see all the stats from the first year, like all the players. And I mean, a lot of the guys still play in the NBHL now. And actually the only team that is in the NBHL from day one EBHL is the Marlton Dogs. They were EBHL year 2015, started by Luke Villano.
That team has been 8 years running. That's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So 2015, that first year was, I'd say, basically composed of all people from Marlton, all people we knew from high school, just you know, an expanded group of all of our friend groups, basically. What happened in the second year was like, I think Maple Shade came in the first time for the second year. I want to say it was maybe Ghost Bears or Dump and Chase. Was it Dump and Chase? So we got our first out-of-town team. I want to say we grew to 11 teams in year two, having them. Everyone, I think, returned for the most part. Maybe they changed team names up a little bit, but year two, we allowed teams to put their logo on the jerseys. I mean, just saw like some of the, you know, better skilled players in the area that maybe weren't involved in the first year came to play for the second year. We're talking it down a lot by like pretty much calling it like hangover league and like no one wanted to be there, but like the games were intense and the playoffs were really intense. I mean, it led to a lot of arguments and
Injuries.
People disagreeing on stuff and rivalries. Like I'm pretty sure there's people that still hate each other from the EBHL now. Like there's definitely a lot of animosity from stuff that happened. But skipping forward, I guess, a little bit from 2015 to like 2017, what we saw was more out of town players coming in. We had the Sloths come in, who are actually returning to the NBA or making their NBHL debut this year. They're a team for the first time, but like they played in the league. Maple Shade team continued to change their name. The Belmar Hawks came into the league. They were originally, weren't they? The
Knights first.
They were the Knights first. They were the Belmar Knights. Yep, the first year. So they came into the league. So what we started to see was a shift, and a lot of really talented players from South Jersey started to travel to play in this league. 2018, we saw Pat leave. Gianni came and joined the crew. We did another season in 2018.
Yeah, that's when I came in.
Yeah, you joined, I guess.
I was like part-time for the 2018 season because I would come and do score, but I hated reffing. I was so bad at it. That's why I didn't join. That's why I wasn't there at the beginning, because I didn't want to ref.
Yeah, we would ref and clock every game, one ref. It was long days sometimes. But
by 2018, I was mature enough to maybe put on the stripes for a couple games and suck it up.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too. Like we did all the reffing. We had people do scorekeeping for us, but generally we did all of the reffing. I think we literally reffed every single game between us.
I remember you reffing in like flip-flops. Yeah, like you would literally walk around the rink in like flip-flops.
No, I looked really cool. I looked very cool. But it was a grind, to say the least, like all that stuff. So
yeah, and that was just, I remember like the summers I would work, like a part-time job and then go and run the EBHL. And at the end of the EBHL, I would go back to college with like 500 or like $600, just like cash from running the league. And that was good money for college. And that's how I looked at it at that time.
Yeah.
And now things have kind of changed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a ball hockey summer internship for you. But yeah, 2018, I remember for the 2018 season, I had moved to Philadelphia and we were still doing games on weekdays, and I would pretty much finish up work, take the train home, come ref 2 games, because we also had to do games early because there was no lights at that rink. So we had to do games at like 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. So I would train home, go right over to the rink, ref 2 games and go home, go to work the next day and do the same thing. And it was just like, I was exhausted. So I remember that 2018 season ending and I was like, I'm okay with never doing this again. Yeah. Like I was just over it. It was too much work. And it's like, where are we going to go from here? And I think like I had been experimenting with creating a national league with outlines for a little bit of time. I'd say like 2017, 2018 is when I first started coming up with the idea. And obviously it was, an idea that everybody wanted in the sport. Like everybody's always said, like, since I started playing men's ball hockey and adult ball hockey leagues, like everyone's like, we need a national league, but it never existed. And I remember when I lost my last game in cadets when I was 15 years old, and I was like, damn, I guess I'm done playing street hockey. And I was like pretty sad. And then thankfully, a guy named Bobby Jones introduced me to the men's ball hockey scene. And, I kept going that way, and I loved it. I fell in love with it all over again with the different level of competitiveness and playing all these people from all over. Like it was great. So I'd come up with the outlines for the, what's it called? Like a national league. And I think it was 2018, sometime in the fall, after we had done our season and we had, I felt like we always had like a reset. Like we had a couple months after where it was just like, thank God that is over. Like we did it. Like we did it again. So at one point there, I guess I made an outline. So after experimenting with these outlines for a couple years, I finally had one where I was like, I think this could be a national league. I feel like this could be the one. So the first person I went to was Scott Tarzi, who's, I talked to him about the EBHL insurance, and he's always giving me good advice. And I met up with him and I showed him the outline and I said, Scott, like, do you think that I could turn this into a national league? And he said, yeah, but I don't think you can do it right away. I think you should grow the EBHL that you have now into the NBHL. And I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. So then I went to Gianni and TJ with the outline and I said, listen, I think that we can take this to the next level. I think we can go from a 4-on-4 league to a 5-on-5 league. We can take it to the Marlton rinks, which had just laid down a deck surface. And I think that we can make this league feel professional. Like we'd already done well with the website and like people really enjoyed that, but like we can make the website better. We can learn how to edit videos. We can learn how to edit graphics. We can have consistency with graphics, and we can have this out every single week after all our games, have highlights. We can have top plays, like all of this stuff. And I'm like, why not? And we were just like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And remember after that, like, TJ, you had a little bit experience with Photoshop, I think, at that point.
Yeah, like I had dabbled in like Premiere Pro and Photoshop and stuff like that, but you not so much.
And I had a little bit of video editing too, because if anyone looks up EBHL on YouTube, some of the only surviving footage is my GoPro footage behind the Mallards net. So that's all the video editing experience that I had too.
So yeah, I think we spent like a couple months just like, messing around with Photoshop, watching YouTube videos and learning how to cut videos and that sort of thing. And in the meantime, we got in touch with Bauer. Bauer sponsored that league for us. And we made this video where we compiled like the little bit of footage we had of the EBHL and put it on social media saying like, pretty much we're going to the Marlton rinks. We're going to be 5-on-5. We're sponsored now. Like, come play. And everybody was all about it because I think the most players we ever had in the EBHL was 135 on the 4-on-4 league. When we announced 5-on-5, we stayed at 10 teams, but we went to around 180 players, 170, 180 players because we stressed like you need to have, I think at that time it was 13 players minimum, 18 maximum, which obviously NBHL is much different now. But we basically just were like, yeah, we're going to do this league and make it 5-on-5 on the deck. And we got a lot of like the really highly skilled players in the league, like players like Johnny Ruiz, who I think almost everyone in the sport knows at this point. Like he wasn't playing in our 4-on-4 league, but he came to play in the 5-on-5 league. And, we had, the dogs with like Dennis Hickey and Steve Cyan.
A lot of the Caribou guys. Yeah, there was tons of skilled players. I think the deck had to did a lot for that too. It was a brand new deck and there weren't a ton of them around the South Jersey area at that time. So, it brought all these guys from all over.
Yeah, and I mean, like the concrete, I think everyone that's played on concrete knows how much they destroy your sticks. And like that was I heard from tons of people like, yeah, I would play if it wasn't on concrete. I would play on your league if, you guys were on deck. And it's like, okay, well, now we're on deck. And then all those people, they pretty much came and played. So it worked out, it worked out pretty well. So we announced that and, we get a bunch of help from some of our friends and people involved in the league to help us record video. And we just literally like sat on top of the Marlton benches. Anyone who's been to the Milet Cup knows there's dugouts and we would sit above the penalty box with our phones and just record side to side and get all the game footage of, every single game. We would just stack them all back to back. And what we did was I had a condo in South Jersey at the time and my guest bedroom was empty. So we bought 3 desks and everything that we could need to build a little office. And where I was working at the time, my day off every week was Tuesday. So on Tuesdays, G and TJ would come over and we would just edit everything. We would create the box scores. Yeah, those were the good days, dude. That was so fun.
Good times.
So we would edit box scores. We would edit the games into full games. And then we'd also at that time did condensed games where we would just cut the games down to only the highlights, which those took forever, dude.
That was ridiculous.
Oh, those condensed games were brutal. But looking back at those condensed games, it is really nice to watch it.
Watching them now is great. I'm very happy we did them.
I remember starting to like in the middle of editing games, just like being lazy about like certain plays and like not adding them to the condensed game because I was just like so like done with condensed games.
Yeah, they were long days. I mean,
yeah.
It was.
We'd order like
exhausting.
We'd order like lunch, get like pizza delivered. We're like, all right, lunch, boys.
Yeah, those were long days, but it was fun. And like we would, post the graphics on social media. We'd have the box scores. We'd have the standings. We'd have highlights. We had a small following at that point, but I think it started to grow a lot on Instagram.
The one thing I have to bring up is in the office, we had the clocks. You had like the 5 clocks or whatever, and it was just the towns in New Jersey. And I know Dan Hickey always brings that up. So that one's so funny. It was like Belmar, Marlton, like Gloucester, and something else, right?
It was Belmar, Gloucester, Marlton, all set to the same time. And then the last one was Canada, and it was just set to Eastern Standard Time, which isn't even accurate.
Hilarious. We'll have to find a picture of that or something.
We will, yeah, we should.
We could use those clocks now.
I know. Do we still have those in storage?
We literally could use those now, legitimately now. That's funny.
Yeah, that would actually be very helpful. See, we just had intuition, I guess. We knew that we were going to need them someday. Yeah. But yeah, that office was fun. It was just fun just watching the highlights and talking about all the shit that happened.
I think we had like a whiteboard and we would like list the top plays like 1 through 10 too.
Oh yeah.
It was always fun.
We had the big whiteboard and we all like you saw a play, you just went up and wrote it.
Yeah.
We had a magnet for every single team that we would like move around and stuff.
We do the matchups for.
That's right. Yeah. That way we all knew the matchups when we were doing the graphics. We would make we line the matchups up on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Damn. We need an office again.
Yeah.
Soon. Hopefully soon. So
24 season, maybe.
So office was awesome. Then we just continued to do that. We were consistent with it, and that was our main thing. Was like we can't just set the expectation week 1 and not do this every single week. Like we need to continually do this every week throughout the entire season. And it was funny through Instagram, if you were to go back and look, like the amount, like when we first posted the highlights, everybody was liking it. Everybody was like way into it. And then as the season went on, they definitely got less likes and less love, because I think like we set the expectation, like we're going to do this. And
people got used to it.
Whatever, it is what it is. I get that's just kind of what happens. But it became, but that's kind of what we wanted. Like we wanted people to expect it. So that was like that happening. And so at some point, I guess it's May. So we've been doing this. We start in April. We're about, I guess, 6 weeks into the season. And first club championships, I think it was the first one. Was the first one 2019?
Club championships?
Yeah. I want to say.
Gianni would know better.
Do you know?
That sounds about right.
I want to say 2019 sounds right.
Okay. Well, sorry, Corey, if we got that wrong, but I think it was 2019. And I went there and I met some, like, I think Dan Hickey introduced me to Corey. And Dan said, hey, because at that point, Dennis was on the national team and he'd, gotten to know Corey. And he was like, hey, just so you know, this is Anthony Sanrocco, runs the EBHL. And me and Corey had a quick conversation, went really well. And, he continued to follow us on social media, and we had more conversations throughout the season. And, the National League conversation came up. And obviously, like, our goal, me, Gianni, and TJ, when we met in the EBHL meeting, our goal was to grow the EBHL, get people noticing us, proving that we can do this video, like prove our model, and then expand it to everywhere. Like that was our hope. I don't know that we actually expected it to happen, but Corey was massive in making that actually happen, because USA Ball Hockey was starting up at that point, and they had, been around for a little bit of time. And Corey basically, helped us get to the point that we are now. And, but going back to EBHL, like finishing up that season, two things we forgot to touch up on is, one, our finals for the 2019 EBHL season was our first time we met Joey Delgado. I'd met Joey at tournaments a little bit and like spoken with him. I knew what he did, but I don't know how we got in touch, but Joey's based out of Michigan. So he was like, yeah, we'll come film your game. And I'm like, yeah, but you also live in Michigan. Like, how are you going to do that? And he's like, oh, we'll drive. And I'm like, what? Like, if you're, yeah, sure. But like that, okay, like whatever. So Joey shows up, and it was Tortugas versus Hawks. And it was a best of 3 series. And Joey was coming to film game 2 and game 3. And Tortugas won it on game 2. So we didn't get 2 games out of Joey, but Joey came down. TJ, it was you and my buddy Pete announced the game, and we won. It was really fun. Like it was
awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
It was such a good like culmination of that season, because one, it was streamed. There was like a good amount of people there at the game, like from Marlton, which was.
There was 69 people at the game. You counted. Don't you remember on the stream? It was actually 69 people, right?
Yeah, that's actually true. I forgot about that. I have to go back and watch that. Oh, I would probably cringe at that, but yeah, that was fun. That was a good game.
So yeah, that was our beginning of our relationship with Joey, and it was also the beginning of our relationship with Matt Strybeck, also known as Strybe, who we've known Strybe for years. Like, it's not like we just met him there. Like, he played in the EBHL, and we knew him from growing up.
He played in Marlton Street Hockey and all that.
Yeah. And he messaged us and was just like, hey, I'm working on my photography. Can I come take some pictures? And we're like, sure. Like, we're not going to stop you. Come do whatever you got to do. Stand wherever you got to stand. Like, just take them. And he, took a bunch of pics, and they were awesome. And, we still have them on our EBHL page today. So that was the first time we really had like a non-hockey involvement with Strybe, where he was, doing something for our league. So it was,
he got the best ever picture of me when he was doing that, of the water bottle squirting directly into my mouth from up top.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's still an all-time picture of me.
I know you still use that.
If you check out the Tortugas Instagram, it'll be on there.
Oh, for the
for our player intros.
Yeah. That should probably be your LinkedIn picture, G. So Strybe, Joey, and then, we get in touch with Corey. And so like the summer, fall of 2019, we're talking to Corey, and we're talking not necessarily about making it national right away. It's more like maybe we can do like a Pittsburgh Jersey League. The same time, I'm talking to Wayne Barrett in Washington, D.C., who runs D.C. Street Hockey, about doing like a Jersey D.C. League. And for them, like it would have been really easy for us to do a D.C. Jersey thing because their league started the same time as ours. And we could just basically, they could send us the video footage, we could edit it and make it seem like we were a league together, and then we just have our champions play. Like it would have been super easy. So we had a lot of discussions about that. And then we had discussions about, Corey and with Pittsburgh, and we're just kind of seeing like, all right, I guess we'll just keep moving along and see if it develops into this. And I remember one day Corey called me, and I remember I was sitting in my driveway, and he goes, "What if we ran the NBHL, like USA Ball Hockey sanctions it, NBHL, National League, you're the commissioner, and we get everybody involved, like, we make it a National League?" And I'm like, yeah, like let's do it. So I sent him the outlines we'd worked on, and I was like, hey, like this is how we'd been discussing it. Like, this is how we envision the National League. And I think, I said this already, but like obviously we didn't come up with the idea for a National League, and it's tough to convince people to all come under one umbrella. And just saying like, hey, we're going to do a National League. It's like, cool, but like, why would we, pay extra to be a part of something that is, international, like national? Like what are you doing different? And what we were able to bring differently was the graphics, was the video, something that's not easy to offer at a local level. Like we had people dedicated to editing video, doing graphics on a weekly basis that we knew that we could do. And that was basically our pitch. And what happened was Corey was able to connect us with people all over the country. And it would have been November of 2019, I had Zoom wasn't even a thing then. It was just a phone conference it was myself, it was Corey, it was Wayne. I believe Frank Klein was on there. I know like there was Chicago, Massachusetts. I think Ryan Wilson was on there. I think Buffalo, I think Rob Chasson was on there. We had the Deck Hockey Focus guys from Iowa on there. I think a few others. And I pitched this PowerPoint presentation that my buddy Mike Hackman made for me. And I basically said, look, like, this is what we do in New Jersey. We think that we can bring this everywhere. And after that meeting, we had some more conversations, and we were like, all right, we're going to do it. And we had 5 divisions in. We had Jersey, we had DC, we had Pittsburgh, we had Mass, we had Chicago. We said, all right, the NBHL is going to happen. We filed for the LLC with the state of New Jersey, and we got Milek on board as the sponsor, and we were set. That was
shout out Milek.
Yep, Milek. Ricky and Anthony
played a huge part in like that all, coming together too, just, going, launching with a big name sponsor in the industry, and, further legitimizing the NBHL.
Yeah. And Milek gave us a lot of credibility once we announced it.
Yeah, that's the word.
We had them, and then we had USA Ball Hockey sanctioning us, and we were the first sanctioned league by USA Ball Hockey at that time. Now they sanction everyone everywhere. It's amazing, but we were the first ones, and it was January 22nd, 2020. We put that graphic out and said 5 divisions and national championship, and the feedback was good. We got a lot of followers right away. People embraced it. Got a lot of questions, a lot of messages like, yo, what's going on here? Because we didn't tease it in any way. Like there was no lead up to it. It was just like one day this graphic was just out, and everybody's like, what is happening? Like, what is going on here? And I remember our original plan was we were going to have the national championship in Washington, D.C. So it was going to be all 5 tiers or all 5 divisions, and then each division would send their champion to D.C. Should we drop our little factoid here about the 5 stars, Teach? You want to do it? I guess I just kind of did it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the 5 stars in the NBHL logo are represented by the first 5 divisions: New Jersey, DC, Pitt, Mass, and Chicago, that ultimately never ended up launching, but we stayed true to it.
Yeah, so Milek came on board, we announced it. We're starting to get teams and captains, and all the teams are setting, NHL team logos and stuff, which was chaos. Like, still happens to this day. Please, if you're a captain, send us an original logo. Don't send us the one that you took from Google. So that took a lot of time. And then, we're ready to go. We had set our start time for April. We ordered jerseys for all the teams. Like we had placed the order, but we hadn't started printing yet. And all of a sudden COVID happened. And I remember like the news of COVID started breaking like the day that our jerseys were getting ready to be printed. And do you remember like we were sitting at my parents' house at that time and we were like, are we going to print these jerseys? Like what is COVID? Do? Like what is going on? Like we had no idea what to do. And we eventually said, you know what, hold off on the jerseys. Let's just see what happens with this. And we pushed the season back a month. We're like, let's just push it back, see what happens. Then that month happened. And then we pushed it back another month. Then we pushed it back another month. And then we put an announcement out. And we were basically like, look, season obviously is not happening the way we had planned. This pandemic is, unprecedented. And what we're going to look to do right now is we're going to try to host a tournament in each division, then send the winner to the Milet Cup. Season kept going. We learned that the tournament wasn't possible. Pittsburgh still got one off. They hosted the Summer Showdown, which Penrose Imperium won their first championship, even though that was like it was kind of a different setting than NBHL, but they still won a tournament amongst all the NBHL teams. So that's their first championship. So they had a tournament, but no one else got to have one. So then we were like, all right, we'll make the Milet Cup just a tournament with all the teams. And then we were just like, you know what? It's just not going to happen. Everything happens for a reason. Let's just cancel it, keep on pushing. And, we'll just.
It sucked. It sucked because it felt like we had so much momentum, 5 divisions, people were excited, and then boom, it's just like completely out of our control and out of our hands. And like, there was a potential that, maybe we wouldn't be able to get it back up and running, but
yeah, it felt super deflating. And we, like you said, like it felt like we had a ton of momentum, and it was like, okay, like, are people going to want this next year? Like, is this going to happen? Like I had tons of doubt, but, I think all of us, we kind of just took a reset, and I think we just one day.
COVID ends up, being like the catalyst to making this league like 10 times better, which is just, I don't know, a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
I guess.
It feels kind of dirty that COVID might have, got us to where we are now, because, the way we would have launched the league in 2020, I think we would have done it, but it would have been a lot more difficult than I think we anticipated. So COVID, allowed us to slow down, work on our model a little bit, figure out how we're going to do things a little bit better. And it also allowed us to, announcing it in January was great because people like within the scene of ball hockey, people were relatively all aware of the idea at that point, but people were still like, what is this?
Who are these guys?
Yeah, like, no one knew who we were or anything. So it was like, we just kind of decided, let's just keep working. Like, let's just keep adding divisions and adding teams, because we were still getting questions. Like, people were like, what is this? Like, can we get involved? So I think we were, had a couple down weeks, and then we added Texas. Texas was the 6th division to hop in. And then we added Raleigh, and in our conversations with them, they were like, we're interested in this, but there's a pretty big disparity in skill level. So why not have like a tiered system? And I think it was Kevin Frost who suggested that to me. And he was like, why not like have us be at a lower tier, have other guys be at a higher tier? And we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. That makes a lot of sense. So we started adding these new divisions with the tiered system in mind. And at that point we were like, all right, so tier 1 is going to be Jersey, Mass, and Pittsburgh. Tier 2 will be Chicago and DC. We'll add Texas, we'll add Carolina. And then, we'll just keep going. So, we have just had more and more conversations. Corey connects us with more people, and we get in touch with New England, with Eddie Costa, and they add, New England, which was tier 1 for the first year, and Tony DeMonico, who decided he wanted to run Buffalo, and Buffalo obviously was a tier 1 division in that first year. So then we add Philadelphia, we add California, we add Pacific Northwest. We put all them in tier 2. So we're going into the season 1 now with 13 divisions, and we're excited. We're starting to announce the new divisions, and we're getting ready to announce Carolina, and Carolina, and they decided to not be a part of it. They had they had got a little bit of a hit with registrations because of COVID, and they just had like some COVID concerns, which was obviously very understandable. So they said, we're going to drop out for now and we'll reevaluate for next season. So we're like, all right, cool, let's do it. We'll go into season 1 with 12 seasons. Or 12 seasons with 12 divisions. In this time too, Strive reaches back out to us. He's like, I want to have a role in this. Like, I want to be involved. And we're like, great. And like, as we had said before, like me, Gianni, and TJ are all like self-taught in graphic design, and we're new and we're learning, and like we can put graphics together, but like they don't look good. And Strive, who I believe was also mostly self-taught, but like he just has like
an eye for those things.
He's a natural.
He's so talented. Like he's so good at the shit that he does. And he sent us some graphics he came up with and some stuff, and we're like, dude, like you're in. Like we can't really offer you anything, but like if you want to be a part of it, like we'd love to have you. So Strive was part of the team year 1, and we went into year 1 with 12 divisions, and the 4 of us. It was just the 4 of us doing everything. We're getting ready to start the season. It's like March, and our good old pal Joey Delgado calls us and goes, "You guys want to do live streams?" And we're like, "Yeah, we do. We don't really know how." And he's like, "I'll do them. I'll go all over the place." And we're like, I mean, you've done it for us before. We believe you, but like this is a lot of travel. And he's like, "No, like we're down."
I remember getting that call when we were at your house, and like I think you like put him on speaker, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll go wherever." And I'm like, "Is this guy insane?" Like I was like, "Is this guy crazy?" Like, because like we didn't have a large disposal of money at that time or anything like that, and like we're like, "How is this even going to happen?" But I remember he's like, "Yeah, I'll go wherever." We're like, "What?"
We're like, "What?" But okay, like sure, like we'll do it.
Please, yeah. I remember your dad. Excuse me. Your dad's like, "Is he serious?" Like I was like, "I guess." But yeah, it just goes to show you like how dedicated Joey Delgado is, and like his company, and covering the sport, and like wanting to see it grow and all those things. And like, I mean, I'm sure anyone in the ball hockey scene would say the same things about him and his company.
I mean, Joey is a massive reason for our growth and why we have been able to get here just through the amount of reach his live streams had. I remember, our season starts and we're starting the live stream in DC, and we're sitting. I don't know if you were with us, TJ. I don't think you were with us for the first live stream, because we had Jersey games we had to go to. Yeah. Or you guys.
I remember watching.
I was home for it actually.
Watching a little bit though.
But we were watching it, and like we're looking at the live stream, there's like 200 people watching, and then Nasher, who everyone knows, starts commenting in it, and we're like, "What the hell is going on?" I
tweeted it at him or something, and I was like, "Yo, check out like this high level ball hockey or something," and he like retweeted or like quote tweeted, and I remember like, "Guys, Nasher, like just." I was like our like first semi like viral moment or whatever, and like that was just super exciting. And then like the next hour, RA from Spit and Chicklets, I think like retweets or like something, and we were just like, okay, like what a start! Like this is actually happening.
I want to say that Nasher either replied to a tweet or retweeted something, and we went up to like almost 400 viewers at one point. And we were just like, oh my God, like what is going on here? Like this is insane. So, I mean, that was cool. And like, so we're going into the season. We got 12 divisions. Each division's playing a 8 to 10 game season. Most of them are 10, some are 8, depending on how far they're traveling. We've got 76 teams. And then we've got the Milet Cup set up so that 2 teams from each tier 1 team is going to make it there. And then one team from each tier 2. So we're just working, and like I'm taking some time off from work just to work on this, because it's a lot. And basically between the 4 of us, we do all the graphics, all the video editing, all of it. And it was a lot. It was a lot of work. It was very overwhelming, but
just push through.
We pushed through, and the reason I think we pushed through is because there was so much, like we got a lot of praise. Like people were really like thankful, and like I felt it was honestly, it was so much fun. Through all the work, it continues to be so much fun, but like, it was a blast.
I'll say that first one was one of my favorites because I was still in college too. So I had like a side summer job I would do a little bit, but I would wake up on Monday and open up my laptop, and I was doing all the video editing, and I would just burn through like 40 videos, over the 2 days. And that would be my week. Every single weekend and week out was ball hockey. I miss that.
Yeah. And I mean, like the idea of like owning our own company and like building our own brand, and it's something I had always wanted to do in life. And like, I mean, organizing a hockey league and teams is something Ant has done since like, I don't know, his whole life. And like, I remember like mini hockey tournaments, like it just felt like the right like path for you, I guess. And like, it just made total sense. And like, here we are today, but that was insane.
Yeah. So like, that season's going on, and I guess we're not really going to dive into the season. I mean, Penn Hills Imperium, Miley Cup champions, Tier 1. Amazing first year. Mays Landing Mojo, Tier 2 Miley Cup champions. Crazy underdog story. 7 seed in the New Jersey playoffs, go on to win the whole entire thing.
Connor Callahan, man.
Yeah.
What a playoffs in a Miley Cup.
Yeah, he was dominant. Then and the Imperium, like their whole core, which still is their core today, between Berge and Quan and Pato and Krause, Cunningham, like they just have so much Persicati, like they have so much skill. Like that team is just so much skill. So I mean,
it was just super cool hosting the Miley Cup, the first tournament that brought every division winner in, and like really truly felt like the first national tournament. And everything was online via social media and the internet and things. And then when everyone's actually in person at the tournament, it was like, holy, this is actually
and I think the coolest part for us too, like we had seen so much footage of all these teams, so many videos and hours of stuff. So it was just like, we finally get to see them. Like I get to see the Arlington Plague. I've watched them in DC all year, and now they're coming to the Miley Cup. Like, let's see what they got. Like, it was just, I don't know.
Meeting people, it was just, it all, kind of was awesome.
It was surreal. And I remember I had one moment where, like, because I think as the tournament was happening, like, we were enjoying it, and like, but we were just working so much. Like, we were so busy and running all over the place.
Too. We were playing.
Oh, my God.
I was the only one who wasn't playing. It was great.
Yeah. Cold Snacks, hell of a season. But like
playing 3 games on a Saturday while also trying to run the tournament was just brutal. It was like 90-degree weather.
Oh my God, yeah, it was rough. But then like I remember I
wouldn't know.
Maybe one of these years, Jay. We're standing by like the score booth, and Craig Lombardi, who's one of our refs from Texas, like really good guy, and he just grabs me. He goes, "Hey," and I was like literally like running to do something. He grabs like, "Hey, stop." And he just grabs me, goes, put his arm on, he's like, just look around. Like, look at what's happening here. Like, this is cool. And I'm like, yeah, it is cool. Like, this is cool. I'm like, he that gave me a second to take it in. Like that we had like, between the 4 of us, like, it's literally just like our group chat had, that's our joke we always made. It's like, this is just our group chat, like the NBHL. And like, it brought all, and obviously it's a joke. It's a lot more than that. But like, brought all these people together for this massive tournament. And it was just so cool. And like, we have all these directors, and like the system we had set up is like, we're running the NBHL, and then there's directors at every division who handle the day to day. And we were just like, we don't know how that's going to go. We don't know if that's going to work. And like the directors were like awesome. Like everybody was so into it. The captains were into it. Like it was just so embraced that it was like overwhelming in the best way. Like it was so cool.
Yeah, everyone bought in, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and like, throughout the season, like we announced it, and the season starts, and there's like all these other regions throughout the country who are like, hey, like, can we join? Like, can we get into this? And we're like, yeah, you can. So I think we maybe bit off a little more than we could chew going into year 2 by just like accepting everyone instead of just like vetting people and like, being a little more thorough with who we added. But we said yes to almost everyone that tried to get in. Certain couple divisions we didn't get in, but we added a bunch in the open tiers. And then we also, I'd say like maybe like June or July, we got connected with UWBHF or UWs, which is the Women's Ball Hockey Foundation, and it's like Alessandra Glista and Jen Free, Marcella Colson, Beth Marhefka, and we had calls like on a bi-weekly, monthly basis where we were like, okay, how can we get women involved in this? How are we going to create a women's tier? And it was hours and hours of conversations on how we were going to do it, how we're going to structure the league, because, in tier 1, 2, and 3, you can just add a team. Whereas in the women's tier, we do a draft system, and that's more of like a growth thing. Like we want to incorporate new players and get them involved with these teams and intertwine like the best players in the country with all these newer players and teach them the game. And I mean, to this day, our goal is still to allow women's teams to put in their own teams, and we're in that direction. But, we decided on the draft format. We named Jen Free the women's commissioner, who worked her ass off. She did so much, and like I can't speak highly enough of Jen. Like she is an amazing human being. She did so much for us, and like we worked so well together. Like there was never any arguing. Like it was always like just good, like honest conversations about everything. And she,
I remember, just real quick, I remember, when there were talks about adding a women's tier, which was something we've, wanted to do. And just at the time after the season we had, it just kind of seemed impossible, like with the four of us being able to do that. And like, again, if not for Jen Free and all those other women that, helped develop the league and the tier, like it's not possible, because I remember just being like, dude, I don't think we can do it.
Without Jen, women's tier, without UWs, without Jen, women's tier is impossible in the way that we wanted to do it. Like we, they added so much to it, and we can't give them enough credit and thanks for like all that they did to get us there. And because even with the women's tier, like we didn't like officially announce it until like December, so it was pretty tight on timeline. And we announced it in December, teams started forming in January, drafts happened in February. We didn't even start those seasons until May. They started later than everyone else because we had such a late start on it. And I remember just like the way things were playing it out. Like I think we like had like a big Zoom call. I want to say it was like the week after Christmas, and we were like, God, like right between Christmas and New Year's, like I felt so bad having this call at this time, but like we were so like
strapped for time.
Like we had to get it in. And like thankfully, like the directors of the women's tiers were all like, yeah, like let's do it. Like we'll make time. And like we're all like, again, like embracing it. Like we're all like, let's make this happen. So it it came together. Like, we had lots of conversations, and it kind of just like amped up very quickly at the end. It was like, we're getting there, we're here. Okay, season starts. Like it was just like boom. But it was tons of moving parts to get that to happen. But after we add the women's tier, we add a tier 2 in Buffalo, we add a tier 2 in Florida, we add a tier 2 in Mass, North Jersey, and in Pittsburgh. We add a tier 3 in California. In Carolina comes back in, add a tier 3 in Detroit. We add Philadelphia tier 3. And then we add women's Mass, DC, Jersey, Philly, and Pittsburgh. So we added, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 13 divisions, right? So we were at 25.
12 from 13, yeah.
Yeah. And like, even then, like, we tried to get some more divisions in other areas, and it just didn't work out with just, we learned a lot about like the development of leagues and like the way that it has to go to get to being an NBHL league, because it's tough to like kind of start at the NBHL. Like it kind of has to work up to it. So I think that's something we learned a lot when we were a little overly ambitious in some of the areas that have smaller ball hockey markets. But and like that was the first time we had to hire people. Like we hired, how many video editors did you hire for that 2022 season, Jay?
Yeah, we brought on about 5 or 6 video editors to the video team, because in the first season I was doing them all myself, but second season I was working full time. I didn't have that kind of time to dedicate, so we had a lot of help coming in and coming on the video editing team to help pump out all those highlights and those full game footage.
Yeah, and you
still did a ton.
And I still did a lot too, still more than I would have liked, but we think we have that under control for this year.
Yeah. So we had a whole video staff we hired. We brought on Casey, Wade, and Ian. Casey Cormier, Wade Bittner, what's it called?
And Ian Gordon.
Yeah, Ian Gordon. And they did, Wade and Casey did all our graphics. Ian managed our social media, and we needed them desperately. We needed them the first year, and like having them on board like made things a lot easier. And I mean, my day did not become any lighter having graphics off of my plate. Like it was still a ton of work. I mean, suspensions became a huge part of the league. Like I think we didn't anticipate how many suspensions there were going to be. I mean, we're close to or over 100 in 2 years. So that takes up a lot of time because, you know, understandably, people get suspended. They don't want to be suspended. So there's conversations and Zoom calls and discussions on what really happened. And it's a lot of time and a lot of effort to handle that. And one of the other changes we made in 2022 was bringing on Mike Wabi as the ref in chief. USA Ball Hockey sanctioned the league, and in 2021, they helped us with our review process. We would send a lot of our suspensions directly to them, well, all of them, and they would help us come to a ruling on what that suspension would be, and it was great. Year two, we kept a little more in-house, where we had Wabi and a few other people weigh in on the suspensions, and he was just our ref in chief. So he would be on Zoom calls with people, and he was having phone calls every single week. Like he, again, another person went above and beyond for the NBHL, and really helped us to. Suspensions was something that, like I said, we didn't anticipate happening as much, and we learned how to deal with it. And he helped us develop the processes we have for this season, which is the most thorough they've ever been on how we're going to suspend people, which we will have an episode where I talk through that and explain how that all works, because players need to know. It's written down, but, not everyone reads everything. We need to have it, go into detail. So 2022 season, hire a bunch of people, 150 teams, 151 teams. I forget what number it is. I think we interchanged because I honestly forget if it's 150 or 151.
Some teams dropped out, or one or two, but
Milec Cup, we had, I think 32 teams. Yeah. Crown a champion, and, Tier 1, Imperium win it again. Women's, Watadic Wild won the first ever women's championship. Tier 2, South Coast Chargers win it. And Tier 3, we have the Queen City Crowns win it. All teams, like all the championship games besides the Imperium, were like 1-goal games. They were super tight. Like it was awesome.
Awesome games.
And like the salary cap did its job. Like it kept the teams as close. And, we know the salary cap is not perfect. We're working on it to, make improvements every single year. But, at least keeps these teams close and kept the games close. So it did good. So 2022 season, also great. And I think our mindset going into this season was a little different, where we wanted to grow in areas other than teams, because growing teams is great. Like we need to have more teams, and we hope to have another big expansion like we did this year. But we're going to only have 165 teams this season. We only added 15. We added 3 divisions. And our goal is to grow more as a media company. That's why you're listening to this podcast. That's why we're going to have, our website's going to be revamped. We're going to have news articles. We're going to have, our live streams are going to be better. Like we're going to do a lot more things on the back end to make our league look better, be more marketable, have a better presence online, and, try to grow that way and just get more eyes on the league in as many ways as we possibly can. And with that, I mean, we're still in the hiring process right now, but our staff's going to probably be about 30 people this year.
Ooh.
I think because I mean, we got like how many video editors right now, G?
We got a team of about 12 people doing video right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Plus writers, plus graphics, plus
stat checkers. Yeah. We have other people that are like in management jobs at this point. Stribe is managing graphics. Casey Cormier is managing a couple different departments. Like he'll be in charge of photos and some other things, like a newsletter we're looking at sending out. So yeah, like we are growing. We went from just being in our, comfort of South Jersey, hanging out with our friends, just running a hockey league because we loved hockey, to now we've had no other option but to learn how to run this as a business. And I mean, I learn stuff every day from people we talk to about marketing and all that type of stuff. But
yeah, I mean, the amount of like people that have reached out to, you know, lend their help to the NBHL and like put their foot forward to try and help us grow, and, you know, all those things like is actually insane. And like, I mean, I figured some of that would happen, but like, just, you know, I don't want to just name people, but, you know, there's just been so many people that have, you know, helped take it up. So
we appreciate, if you've ever lent us any ounce of advice, I promise you we appreciate it, because we're still learning. We're not stubborn. We don't think we know everything. Like, we are always open to criticism, to ideas, like anything. Like, so thank you for anyone that's helped us. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the story, right? Is there anything we're forgetting to touch on?
I mean, there's definitely things we
I guess there definitely is.
There's so much. And I'm sure that will leak through in other episodes and things like that. And, you know, as always, I mean, people are able to ask questions and we're more than happy to answer them, and just want to represent the community as best as we can.
Milik Hockey is your leading provider in ball hockey equipment and proud sponsor of the National Ball Hockey League. Milik has been around for 50 plus years, pioneering the sport of off-ice hockey, creating the iconic orange ball, which is the most used and recognized ball around the world. Milik MK5 shin pads are one of the top choices for players everywhere, available in 4 sizes and 2 color options, lightweight, breathable, and anatomically designed with a 3-strap system to keep them in place. To check out Milik products, go to milik.com and use code Commish Chat to check out for 15% off. Once again, that's Commish Chat, COMMISHCHAT, at checkout for 15% off.
And we'll go into the questions that we asked for on the Instagram story and in the comments on our first post. I think we just kind of touched on this, but we'll go through it again. Questions from Nick DeVito. Is he playing this year, actually?
Yeah, proud ECM Tortuga.
Oh, he's a Tug now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Love to hear that. So here we go. His question is, from your POV, what is more exciting for the league? New teams joining existing divisions or launching a new division?
I think both are. I mean, they're both exciting in different ways. Like this year we launched a division in Indiana. Like, I think that's like the coolest thing. Like, I've never met someone from Indiana that plays. I've never seen from Indiana at a tournament. So learning that they have ball hockey leagues and they have that ball hockey culture and they had a passion, like these guys right away, like, were super excited and super passionate. And like, Mark, who's running their division, is like super great. And like, another guy who's helping it out is Aaron Stillerman. Like, these guys are always in touch with me and asking me questions and just really just wanting to make it work. And their whole league seems to embrace it, like, off the bat. So adding a new division like that is super cool. I mean, adding a new division in general is cool. But then it was also cool, I think, to see expansion of our divisions we have, because I think that there was rightful skepticism with the NBHL, where there was people who were like, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, I feel like this might suck. Like, I don't know if I want to do it. And it's like, yeah, like, that's fair. Like, let us prove it to you. And we've seen people who, you know, weren't sure about it hop in. You know, some of the divisions that weren't in year 1 hopped in year 2 that were like, we just need to see it first. And they did, and now they're in, and almost all of them are back. And, you know, it's good. So I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, it's a win-win. It's exciting either way. Like, no matter how you look at it, it's just exciting in different ways.
Yeah, I think just like the new divisions that we get, like, obviously some of them don't have as many teams when they first start out. And like, the goal is to, you know, have those divisions gain more teams year after year. And, you know, you have to start somewhere. So
yeah, like I see like some of these smaller divisions like gaining team. That's like an extension of when we first put it there. Like, we're planting the seed and, you know, watching it grow and add more teams. It's like, it's part of the process. It's all, you know, one streamline. Like, in our South Jersey division here, we have 14 teams. Like, that's where we want all of these divisions to get to eventually. But, you know, it's a climb up there.
For sure.
I think one of the coolest things that happened this off season is what happened in Texas, because Texas year 1 had 3 teams. Yeah, Texas year 2 had 3 teams. And Harry Size, their director, he's the man. Like, he works so hard and is so diligent with like all the things he does to make that division work. And, you know, he's just connected with people, and he's got it to 5 teams this year. We have a team from Colorado that's going to fly into Texas. My superstar teammate Dan Stern from the Malibu Monsters leading that charge with the guys at Radical Rec. Like, we're loving that they're coming to play. We've won the Colorado team for a couple years, and we got one. They're going to go to Texas, and the Red River Hot Sauce split into 2 teams this year. They're the Red River Rougarou and the Shreveport Raging Gators. So we went from 3 teams to 5. And I mean, hockey, it's not Boston. Like, it's not, the Northeast, like, where hockey is like culture. Like, it's definitely like a different mentality down there. And going from 3 to 5 teams is like, it's definitely some validation for us. And I think it's huge for them, because the 3-team division it wears on you.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing the same team every other game. Like, by game 6, it's like, oh, okay, who am I playing this game? Like, oh, the guy who I just played last game. Like, it's not like, it has to dull out at some point. So adding those 2 more teams is going to make that division so much better. And I like to think it'll lead to more growth as it continues to, NBHL continues to grow.
All right, next question. This one's from Ashley from Ball Hockey Boot Camp. How can we continue to develop the women's game? Are there other markets you'd like to help get women's tiers?
I think the biggest thing with women's is just like marketing and like visibility, and like, I mean, social media plays a huge part in like everything now, whether we want it to or not. Like, it exists, and it's like, it's has value. And, having pictures of women playing ball hockey and, just showing how fun the sport is, and even like the social aspect. Like, I know when I was doing travel nursing, I always knew that wherever I went, I could find a pickup ball hockey game or someone playing hockey, and I could at least have people I have something in common with. And I think promoting that and, showing women playing would go a long way. And, we got to do a better job marketing it. And I think we're going to do that this year. But, doing that, and then like, being accepting of new players. When new players come in, everybody was new to ball hockey at some point. People got to learn. So, all these higher skilled players, and from what I've been told and what I've seen, like, they really embraced the new players and taught them a lot, and they grew a lot in these first years. And it's important. And I mean, just in general, like, I think the women's game's in a really good spot between like UW's and, I mean, even Ashley's program, like Ball Hockey Boot Camp, the USA Ball Hockey, like the Future Stars, the women's tier, and, there's tournaments all over the country now for women's. It's in a good spot. And even that the Masters team winning gold, like, it shows like what you can do. Like, you can literally go internationally and win a gold medal for the sport of ball hockey. And like, what those women accomplish is like amazing. And it's just, that's the stuff that grows women's ball hockey. It's visibility and making people aware of those things and showing like how fun the sport truly is. And I think it's, I think the sport's in a really, really good spot right now for women's game. And, like new tiers, like there's so many like different areas that we could add tiers to, but we have to grow it. And like, I mentioned this a little bit before, but like, you can't go right into the NBHL. Like, there has to be like a growth into it. Like, if you don't have ball hockey, like maybe there's pickup games first. You have 3-on-3 pickup games, then you get to 5-on-5 pickup games, then you go to a 3-on-3 league, then you go to a 5-on-5 league, then you go to, a bigger 5-on-5 league, and then you go to the NBHL. Like, it doesn't have to go that way, but like, it's an easy progression from just getting more and more people slowly and building up to that. And like, I know there's smaller ball hockey markets, like, the Carolinas and, California that have players. Like, I mean, the SoCal Swell played in Cali Tier 3, were a full women's team last year. And they were great. They almost went to the Mila Cup.
They're really good.
There is room for growth, and we have the right people in place in this sport that are promoting it and doing an awesome job. And, we hope those areas have divisions, but we're not going to rush them. We're not going to force them, but, we want to work with them to, to help grow their program. So if you do run a women's program and you want to expand, we're all ears. We'd love to talk to you and, help you out with whatever you need to, try to get a women's tier, just get women's leagues going. Like, it doesn't need to be the NBHL. Like, we just want to see the sport grow. So whatever we can do, reach out. We're very accessible.
Next question. Has the NBHL ever looked into getting nationally broadcasted on TV? And this one came from Ricky Peugeot, I believe, and he is on the Angel City Rush out of California.
Yeah, I met Ricky in California. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. It's a great question. It's one we wish we had an answer to. Well, we do have an answer to this, but we wish we had an answer on how we can do this, because we've tried, we've sent emails, we've reached out to people, and it's, we just don't know the right people yet. So if you know someone that can get us on TV, please tell us, because that's what we want to do. We would love to. But we've been fortunate enough to get on NHL Network 4 times now. Give Dan Coldwell, the North Jersey director, and a ton of credit for helping us get on there. And that's been amazing for us. But we'd love to have games on TV, but it's just, we just got to keep building. We have to keep growing. And, everybody who's listening to this podcast, who's a part of the league, we all love ball hockey. We all know ball hockey, but I think we all kind of run into an issue where you try to explain to someone who doesn't know, and they're like, oh, there's no skates. You wear shoes. So we need to have a wider understanding of the sport. And I think that's why, we're trying to expand in not teams, but in media this year to grow that knowledge of the game around the country and around the world, honestly.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about that is just I think one focus this year to, help with that is we're putting more effort into the Twitch streams this year and trying to make those, higher level productions so it looks better and is better and, hopefully gets recognized by more people and, that could lead to something there.
Yeah, I would say too, getting on TV, is the hurdle for us, but I think that the talent to, that people want to watch is already there. The talent pool, the skill, the competition, we already have that. We have a lot of skilled players in this league. It's something that if you tuned our league onto your TV at home, it will be entertaining for you to watch. So the base is already there. It's just getting us to that next level is what we're really trying to do.
I guess that about wraps it up. We did it.
That's the first.
We completed a podcast.
That's the first episode of Commish Chat.
Yeah.
From the NBHL.
If you listened all the way through, thank you. Our hope again is to do these weekly or bi-weekly throughout the season. We're gonna do them as often as we can, and it's a priority for us this year. So we're gonna be as consistent with these as we can, because consistency is important. And thanks for tuning in, and we hope you're here for week 2.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure you tune in weekly or bi-weekly, whatever we do.
Yeah, just make sure you follow us on Instagram at Commish Chat. If you're listening to this, you probably found it on Spotify or Apple Music. I think that's where we're headed right now, hopefully on other platforms once we figure that out. But we'll see how it goes. And thanks again for listening.